Thank you so much, AJ, for being here today on Mindset Mastery with Mindset Mary. I am very, very happy that you accepted the invitation to be on the show.
Absolutely. Well, the name Mindset Mary that inspired me. I could talk about mindset all day long, so it's an
Oh,
honor to be here.
oh gosh, you know what? Same here. I think I can always talk about mindset. It's just something so fascinating to me. And, when I decided to become a coach, it was the one area that I knew I had to pursue. It's the one area where you literally can never stop learning and growing in the area of mindset. You never reach the destination.
Preaching to the choir, I have a
Totally.
master's degree in psychology, and man, it's about every book I read, 9 times out of 10 is psychology, mindset, human behavior related.
Yes, yes. Well, let's dive right in, AJ. I had a look at your website and oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about today. From you being an author to, running online businesses and coaching and fitness and mindset. It's just incredible. It's incredible everything that you've been up to. So I'd really just love to dive right into your journey as an entrepreneur, your personal journey, your professional journey, anything that you'd like to share that gives me and the audience really good insight about who you have become.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there a specific area you want to start at?
Oh boy. I think maybe we could start at, just what led you to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think going way, way back, how I originally came to America, my family was actually refugees. We were immigrants from a war-torn country, ended up in New York. I was a year old. And thankfully, looking back, the war, being an immigrant and refugee, forcing my family to flee and come to America was the best that ever happened to me. Because as a young boy, I began to realize the American dream. And in America, you could be poor, you could be uneducated, you could work, go to school, start a business, pretty much accomplish everything. I was the oldest of four boys, and my parents struggled, when they came here. We were very poor. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment. It was six of us, four boys, two parents, and my dad worked all these odd jobs. He didn't speak English too well, so he just took whatever jobs possible to provide for his family. My mom took some jobs as well, and I just saw them struggling financially. And I would watch TV shows. When I grew up, there was a show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and it was like, wow, these people in America live in these mansions and drive these Rolls Royces and Ferraris, and many of them were self-made business people, celebrities, actors, athletes. And I said, my goal is to be a self-made millionaire. And at a young age, I knew there was a way to accomplish it. I really didn't know how. So going to school was my number one focus. My parents were, old school. They used to beat me when I get bad grades. So I made sure to get straight A's and do really well in school. And then I came to realize that I could focus totally on formal education. But if I was going to be successful, have to be a doctor or an attorney. Now, I was good in school, but I wasn't that smart. I don't think I was capable of going to medical school or becoming an attorney. So I soon realized that, yeah, I'll go to college and ended up getting my master's in psychology, but entrepreneurship is a way to go. I had an uncle who was a self-made entrepreneur. He's my dad's older brother. He came and started a series of fabric store businesses. And I saw, wow, this guy came at the same time that we did, but his family's very wealthy, lived in this big mansion. They had all these nice cars. They were very nice to throw big parties and invite us. And I had my first inspiration, my uncle. My dad actually worked for him, so we were very close. And I realized, like, wow, if you really apply yourself, you work hard, and most importantly, you understand business, marketing, sales, you could do something with yourself. So I think that when I first graduated college, soon after, I had to figure out how to start a business, and not only start it, but sustain it, and I started a bunch of businesses. Most of them failed. I had a personal training business that kind of took off and got me into understanding entrepreneurship, and then started growing from there.
Wow, that's incredible. That is amazing. And it's funny, AJ, because some people will allow their circumstances to dictate their future, right? And that becomes an excuse. Well, we're immigrants. Well, we don't have money. Well, we don't grow up like that. That's not us. And other people use those exact circumstances to create a future, and it's amazing. How did you come about of having that mindset shift of like seeing your uncle and seeing what's possible, and not allowing your circumstances of where you are, how you live, parents are barely making ends meet. How did you overcome that and actually look at the other side?
I really didn't have an option. I feel for me, it was a lot of positive pressure. I was the oldest of four boys, and
Yeah.
I was probably the only person in my family that took, I guess, American education very seriously. Now,
Okay.
my parents, they were educated back in the home country, but they never really acclimated to the US system of really mastering the English language or
Mhm.
studying a trade. They just were really hard workers. They just took whatever job was available to them, but they never looked outside the box and said, oh, maybe I could study business or start a business, or do something that, allows me to be creative, or to push myself. So I realized if they're not going to do it, then I have to do it. Thankfully, I grasped English quite well, and I was an avid reader. I was a bit of a nerd as a little boy. I was an introvert, extremely shy. I started for the first 20 years of my life. So I would find my solace in books. My
Yeah.
family was very poor, so we didn't have a lot of money to travel, or to even go anywhere cool. I would just stick my head into books all day long. My mom would take me to the library, and I would just take 20 to 50 books about dinosaurs, about geography, about the world. And I was like, wow, the world is so vast. And I was so fascinated in the books I would read, and realizing so much about humans and animals and how the world works. And I
Yeah.
realized at a young age that everything in life has a formula. I don't know why, but I always realized this, where if someone wants to get in the best shape, there's a nutrition plan, a workout plan, a specific set of exercises and macros that they follow, and they could transform their body. If someone wants to be happy, they could meditate, they could read books on positivity, understand how the mind works. Wow, we think all day long. If I
Yeah.
think positive, I'll be happier. If I don't think, I'll be peaceful. When I think too much, I have anxiety. When I focus on the past, I get depression. These little formulas that we soon understand, sometimes at a young age, sometimes at an older age. With business and entrepreneurship, is really understanding marketing, sales, delivering a product that people love. People will come back and refer other people. So I was like, man, I need to figure out the formula. One, to get in shape. I was a chubby kid. I was very fat growing up, big chipmunk cheeks, belly, boy boobies, So
Yeah.
I was like, my first goal is to get a six pack. I need the formula to get in shape. And then from there was really understanding mindset, right? Because you can have the perfect body, but you can be super insecure and look great, but have this weird insecure energy that
Yeah.
people are judging you, or, some of like the fittest people are the most insecure, which makes no sense, but they don't work on the mindset, right? And financially, that was the ultimate formula. It took me a while, but I think out of all the formulas, I figured that one out. Now, relationships, that's something I'm working on. I had a lot of failed relationships, so that's a work in progress.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Can't have it
sure.
all.
You know what?
If you have any
Y-
tips on that formula, please enlighten me.
So there's this saying that says you can have it all, just not all at the same time. And I
Ah,
think
true.
there's so much truth to that, because as we're working on some aspects of our lives, sometimes we're, not so focused on other aspects of our lives. But I think, with the right mindset and the right formula, as you say, I think that we can strive to achieve some form of balance that works for us, right?
Yes.
Like not the whole work-life balance, none of that. It's like, what does balance mean for you? What are the, yeah. So, and it really has to do with like, what do you value? What are the most important areas in your life that you want to give priority to? So maybe relationships could be the next phase of
No,
that.
I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I'm not a spring chicken, and I gotta expiration date, I want to be a dad and have a family. So, you know, I got to figure out that formula before I
Yeah.
become an 80-year-old single bachelor, you know? So
Oh gosh.
time, you know, it's time to get serious with that. You know, thankfully, financially, I put myself in a really good place. You know, I built a very successful business. I actually sold my business a year ago, put me
Mhm.
in a great place where I have financial abundance and I invest a lot, maintain really good shape. Overall, I would say I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Oh,
And
wow.
relationships, family, fatherhood, being a
Yeah.
dad is my number one goal. So I am working on that for sure.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, and I think it's important for us to really get clarity on what's most important in this phase, in this season of my life. What am I
Absolutely.
looking to pursue? So I absolutely love that. And if I may say, I think in sharing your story and your past and how you grew up, for me, that through line for you is I think you're very curious. I think
Mm.
it's your curiosity that really, allowed you to explore and use your imagination and use your time to learn and grow. And, what's, I think, what separates entrepreneurs is like some people will do a lot of learning and consumption of content, but then not so much application. And this is something that I call like analysis paralysis because we take in so much that we really just get lost in it. And then when it comes time to action and execution, we're much more comfortable in the learning. And I want to applaud you because you definitely didn't do that. You're like, okay, how could I use this information and apply it and create something, learn and fail and learn and fail and keep going until you strike that right formula. So I'm actually super curious, like, what is it about you that allowed you to not allow those failures to deter you from going forward, trying again, figuring it out?
You're very intuitive, Mary. You're right. I'm very curious. I love learning. I love talking to people. I love learning how things work. I'm
Yeah.
always analyzing everything, you know, and I love talking to people. I love just understanding more of the world because the more that I learn, the more I realize how ignorant I am, right? I never would say I'm smart. I'm constantly learning. The world is so vast. And
Yeah.
as much as I think I know, someone has a conversation with me and blows my mind. I'm like, wow, this guy's so much smarter than me. And I remember when I was young, I got into this binge of personal development books because I realized self-help, psychology, personal development. I would read those books and I would get this crazy motivation, this crazy knowledge. And also, I would have different things happen, and these books always had the right answers.
Mm,
One book that had a profound effect on me was Fail Forward by John Maxwell. He is a great author and he has stories upon stories of these great humans that tried to accomplish great things, failed many, many times. Instead of quitting, they failed forward. And
yeah.
it changed my perspective on failure, where failure is not a bad thing. It's actually a great lesson. We learn the most from our mistakes. You know, I moved to Thailand 10 months ago, coming to this new country from America. It's like a
Mhm.
blank slate. I'm learning so much and I'm making so much mistakes. About a month ago, I hired a Thai tutor. He comes to my home 3 times a week and teaches me Thai. Now, I
Nice.
thought a good grasp on English, but Thai is a whole other language, one of the most difficult languages to learn. So when he
Yeah.
comes over and he quizzes me or he asks me to say certain things, I learned so much more from my mistakes. When my brain is like blank and he's like, all right, here's how you say that. I'm like, whoa, that sticks in my brain forever. And I'm like, wow, we learn so much more from our mistakes, so much
Yeah.
more for our failures. So
Yeah.
now when I have a idea that fails, a marketing plan that fails, even a post that fails, I'm like, okay, what does this have to teach me?
Yeah.
Is the picture good? Is the copy the failure? You know, when you're marketing, you have this elaborate funnel, right? You're running ads to the funnel. You're sending traffic. Is the quality of the traffic? Is it the landing page? Is
Mhm.
it the funnel? Is it the emails? There's so much factors. But the cool part is learning from those mistakes, learning from the parts that break, fixing it, and having this amazing thing that works. But I would never learn if I didn't make all those failures.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Failing forward. I love that. I love that because if we can get into that mindset of failing forward, then we never we never allow ourselves to attach the meaning of the fact that we're actually going backwards, right?
Yes.
So great. And I think that that's also perhaps where your curiosity benefits you, because something fails and you're like, where is it? What part is failing? Let's try to investigate. So I think that, perhaps curiosity is part of your superpower in your
Oh yeah,
success.
I think it's a great skill to look at everything with a curious mind, right? Because we talk
Yeah.
about relationships, and early on I was very insecure, and I was this chubby kid. I feel when I became an older young man, I still had those insecurities. So then I had this whole focus on dating. How can I get comfortable to go on dates and talk to women? Actually, go out into the street, find an attractive woman,
Yes.
talk to her, start a conversation, ask for her phone number. From
Mhm.
there, ask her out on a date, right? So
Yeah.
there was so much failures and rejection early on. I'd be like, oh, I guess I'm not attractive. I guess I'm not tall enough. I guess I'm not smooth enough. I would personalize it. And when I did that, I would get down on myself and get more insecure. I would lose my
Yeah.
confidence. But then I
Yeah.
realized, no, it's not me, it's my approach. Maybe the conversation that I started is the wrong conversation to start. Let me try from a different angle.
Yeah.
Perhaps when I ask for the phone number, I shouldn't ask for it in a very needy way. I should
Yeah.
ask for it in a nonchalant way. Hey, I would
Yeah.
love to get your phone number and hang out sometime, but if not, totally cool, right? Take the pressure off, but don't be so attached to the outcome. So then it's not
Right.
about me being the failure. It's every part of that funnel, from that conversation, from the date, right? When you're on a date, sometimes you're very awkward. You get
Yeah.
better at that. You fail forward, So, I mean, all these
Yeah.
things, instead of taking it personal, it's not me, it's my approach. It's
Mhm.
my marketing funnel. It's my sales pitch, right? So it's like, what can I learn from this set of failures here?
Yeah, no, that's so good. That's so good, because I think that the minute we start taking things personally, we start operating out of our emotional state,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Not our logical mind, but it's like more of our emotional mind. So I
So
think, like
you'll
for
never
me,
be successful if you
yeah,
operate from emotion.
yeah, no. And like for me, like I'm a mindset coach. So we have to go out and try to get clients, right? So it's like the biggest thing for me was like, oh, but what if someone rejects me? What if someone says no? What if I'm not a great coach?
Yeah.
And then I listened to this podcast and they said something about like, when someone says no to you, they're not saying no to you, they say no to themselves. They're saying,
Yeah.
no, I'm not ready for this. No, I
I
can't do
don't
this
trust
right now.
myself. Yeah.
So yeah, take that as a no, no for me. Like, I don't want to be coached. I'm not in a state where I want to be coached right now in my life, or like, it's trying to really detach yourself from the personal aspects of a
Yeah.
no, because
That's
that's
a
what
great
holds
point.
most, right? Yeah. And it
That,
holds so
that's
many entrepreneurs back, in that, like, they stop trying, they give up. And most entrepreneurs will, give up too soon. They'll give up too soon on their dreams because they've gotten some failures, and failures are hard. So let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about insecurity, because you mentioned insecurity. And I think that no matter who you are, everybody suffers from some form of insecurity.
oh, absolutely. Yes.
Whether it's in your relationships, it's in your business, it's in your, whatever it may be. But like, none of us are perfect. And I think we're always a work in progress. So how did you build up that, confidence within yourself? And when you were building up your confidence, was it like, did you know that you were still insecure? Like, how did you overcome the insecurity to lead with more confidence, knowing that, yeah, there is some insecurity, but it's not going to be leading me forward?
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, self-awareness is the cure of all insecurity.
True.
When I'm aware that I am insecure about this thing, I ask myself, is this true? Right. Another great book is Byron Katie.
Yes.
She has this process called the work. And every time you have an insecure thoughts, or you feel like you're lacking confidence,
Yeah.
ask yourself, is this thought true? Is this 100% true? Do I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is true? So when it comes to business, right? You post this offer on your social media and you're so convinced it's the best offer. All of a sudden it's like crickets, let's say, for example, I'm looking for 5 coaches who want to scale their business to 6 figures in the next 30 days, right? So you put out this offer, no one raises their hand, no one clicks on it. It gets like 2 likes, your mother and one of your friends. Now, no customers. So in that moment, you could feel insecure. You could say, I'm a crappy coach. I'm terrible. No one loves me. No one wants to work with me. I'm going to fail at business. I'm going to be homeless. I can't pay my bills. Oh my God, this is the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes as an entrepreneur, we have those crazy insecure thoughts, but having self-awareness, saying, you know what? Is it really me? Is it really my coaching? Is it really my abilities? Is it really my face? You know, or is it my offer? I'm totally detached. The offer is wrong. So now I'm self-aware that I'm insecure, that I'm starting to have bad feelings about myself or my business. That's going to limit my performance. That does not serve me. Let me go back to the drawing board and create a new offer and test that out. This way, I'm unattached personally. It's the offer. If I get the words and the right combination at the right time to the right person, they're going to click. And when they click, I could help them and change their life, and they'll invest in me. So all of a sudden, instead of having my whole day ruined because my post got 2 likes, I reapproach it from an unfazed, unattached perspective.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, because really is the thought really serving you? Is it propelling you forward? Is it getting you closer to your goals?
Read minds. Yeah,
Right.
like literally, at what point does this thought serve me? Right?
Yeah.
It's self-defeating because
Completely.
we cannot read the minds of the 1,000 followers and why they didn't click, right? We can have all these theories 99% of the time. Those theories will be wrong as opposed to trying to analyze it or figure it out. You'll never figure it out unless you specifically talk to that person honestly and say, why didn't you click on my post? Oh, I didn't see it. The algorithm, there's all these factors.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work. Let me try again.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think self-awareness is one thing that's completely underrated. You know, having like as a mindset coach, it's
I think it's one of the most important superpowers, right? Because
100%.
if you really be self-aware, look in the mirror, figure out what makes you strong, what makes you weak, what makes you take crazy massive action, what makes you procrastinate. All of a sudden you rule yourself. And if you rule yourself, you could take massive action, you could perform at a high rate. And every time you get insecure, every time you have self-doubt, you lack the confidence, you pause, say, you know what? Before I ruin my day or before I ruin my week or weekend, is this thought serving me, right? If you have a great client, they're paying you for a very long time getting them results. All of a sudden they send you an email and say, you know, Mary, I'm gonna have to end our coaching. I'm sorry, but I can't work with you anymore. Why? Is that, no, everything's okay. Just please stop billing me. And they just disappear without giving you, all your mind goes crazy. You create all these self-doubt. And if you are self-aware, you realize there could be a million reasons why this person chose not to continue. Why am I blaming myself? That's the stupidest thing. If I did my best, then I have no control over why they stopped.
Exactly.
They could experience a death in the family. They could be having a fight with their wife. They could have all these things that made them stop. Perhaps they just lost their income, right? I mean, but if you personalize and blame yourself or get angry with them, like, screw them, I gave them so much. It's like, stop right there. That does not serve you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I couldn't agree more. And as you said that, I know I started thinking to a personal experience where that exact thing happened. You know, a client was referred by another client who said like, oh, this guy's been trying to like get his business off the ground. So like, you really need to help him. You got to coach him. Because I was coaching this other client on doing the exact same thing. So I said, sure, let's meet with him. Okay, I'll see if I can help. And he was very excited. And, at the beginning, there's so much momentum and we start our coaching sessions. And then all of a sudden, like there's a reschedule and then there's a reschedule to the reschedule. And I'm like, is everything okay? Like we need to be meeting, I'm like, he wanted to meet bi-weekly. Okay, we'll do bi-weekly, no problem. And then it's like, you know what, just keep the money. And, I think I'm going to take a break or something. And then it's like, as a coach, you're like, okay, was it my coaching? Did I do something wrong? It hasn't been long enough to even get results. Like we're only like a few weeks into this, like not even a month. So, and of course, as a humans, we are internalizing, like, what did I do? You know, what? So, I mean, I totally get it. And it's like, if for me to think that I'm a bad coach and, you know, I did not deliver, that would be so disempowering. And that would not be helping me get more clients, because it will come back to me feeling unconfident, you know, and I'll start questioning myself. And at the end of the day, I think you don't know why people do the things they do. And even if you were to ask them why, they may not tell you. I
They'll
think,
never tell you. Yeah.
yeah. And
Sorry, I started my business in 2006. Soon it'll be 20 years of entrepreneurship. And I remember how many amazing clients just quit out of nowhere. And I remember early on, I would personalize it so much and it would get me
yeah,
down in the dumps for weeks.
yeah.
As you get older and you are more seasoned, you attain more wisdom, you
Mhm.
realize it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Fact,
Fact.
client wants to stop working with you. That's it. Now,
Yeah.
the story that you tell yourself as to why is the part that messes you up. So after many, many years, when I get an email or someone tells me they want to stop working with me,
Mhm.
I accept it. If they're open to sharing the real reason, that'd be
Yeah.
great. I could get feedback and become a better person.
Yeah.
If not, I respect that and I cannot internalize it. You know, I just let go, let go. I surrender to the fact they don't want to work with me. It's a
Yeah.
fact. It's no story. I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to suffer more than necessary. I accept it, move on.
Yes, exactly. No, that's great. And I think that, you know, we have to be in that mindset of, you know, I've done my part, right? Like being a
Yes.
coach, we're both coaches. It's a co-creation, right? You show up and you do the work, but they got to show up and also do the work, and you do that work together. So
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, it's always about the
It's,
stories.
it just brought me back to the four agreements, you know, like
Yeah,
I broke this
yeah,
kindness and the four agreements, you know, I believe two of them are don't take things personally. And the other one is do your best and forget the rest, right? Just
yeah,
doing your best. So, I
yeah,
mean, those are two aspects that will help you a lot when it comes to this story you tell yourself as to why a person did what they did. And you know, again, it's not about you. It's like accepting the fact they did that, not taking it so personally.
yeah. And you know, the most empowering thought that I tend to tell myself is, it's not about me. When you come
Yes.
into contact with someone, whether someone leaves a bad, you know, comment on your post, whatever it is, like if you
Yeah.
can tell yourself that it's really not even about you, that is so liberating, because that's like
Sure.
taking it out of the personal, right? Detaching from the personal and detaching from those emotions. And the more we can make sure that in certain circumstances, our emotions really should not be involved. When it involves
Yeah.
things that are out of our control, we shouldn't involve our emotions, because then we're attaching our emotions to things that we can't even control. And what's the point
Like
of that?
literally, that's a great point. You know, I recently hosted a entrepreneur mastermind here in Thailand. Now
Oh,
I
wow.
have a home that I open up to different entrepreneurs all across Thailand. They'll fly in and attend, and you know, I'll have people that are in the beginning of their business, others that are very far advanced. They've been in business longer than me, and it's
Oh,
so
oh,
fascinating
wow.
to see the difference in mindsets. You know, because
Yeah.
in my previous business online super coach, I had the great joy of coaching thousands of personal trainers and coaches. This was back in 2012 when I started it. And I had newbies who had zero business experience. They had their first clients to then scaling my very advanced clients to six figures, and some of them became millionaires. And it was so interesting to see the difference in their mindsets.
Yes.
The newer the coach was, the more they were focused on me, and internalizing everything, taking everything so personally.
Mhm.
Now, the six and seven figure coaches focus outward. They were unfazed. They never internalized it. Again, it's not me, it's my marketing funnel. It's not me, it's my offer. It's
Yeah.
not me, it's my sales script. It's not
Yeah.
me, it's my program's not delivering enough value. I got to go back to the drawing board, make it more valuable to have better client retention. It was
Mhm.
always about not internalizing it. It was, okay, the data is out here. I'm going to fix what's out here instead of trying to fix myself. Because if I'm doing my best, then I can't get so caught up as to why they didn't buy, they didn't click, they didn't continue. Because it's like, me, I'm not good enough, right? It's like,
Yeah.
why am I not at six figures, and they could be internalizing this whole story. It's like, well, obviously the marketplace is the greatest teacher. If they're not
Yes.
investing in you, it's not
Yeah.
a you problem. It's you're not giving them what they want, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
some people that go so crazy building something that they think is so amazing, they launch it and it's crickets, and they get so hurt. But it's not about you. It's not about your perfect product. It's the fact that the marketplace doesn't want it. Instead, see what the marketplace wants, create
Exactly.
something specifically for them that they will invest, that's so valuable that they'll give you money for it. If they're not giving you money, it's not valuable enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. It's true. And again, detach from that
Yes.
outcome, you know. And sometimes we really root our self-worth in our results. And when we don't get those results, we question our self-worth, right? And if we can redirect that energy to like root yourself in your intentions, like what's your intention? Are you looking outward? Are you intending to serve, to create, to impact? Rooted in your intentions, because it's much easier to align how we feel with our intentions, especially when we know we are heart-centered, service-driven entrepreneurs that are looking to create value in the marketplace, you know, that are looking to change people's lives, you know, help them build their businesses, make it easier to run their businesses. When you go back and you align all your efforts into your intentions, you will come out of that feeling like, you know what? I deserve to win. I'm a good person. I have good intentions. I want to do good in this world, you know? And it's like, what's the story? Or is it an empowering thought or is it a disempowering thought? Which way are you leaning?
Well said. Well said. You know, about a week ago, I was in Bangkok, Thailand, the capital city, kind of like the Manhattan, Toronto, you know, big city, a lot
Yeah.
of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I got hired by a young entrepreneur. He's about 28 years old, and he has a supplement company. He's doing 15 to 20 million dollars a year.
Yeah.
Extremely advanced, very successful. And when I was spending time with him on the one day of consulting, I was so impressed with how unfazed he was, right?
Mhm.
Now, if I were to say that's the number one superpower I've seen in a lot of high performers, it's being unfazed, right?
Mhm.
He is able to wake up Monday morning, execute at a very high rate, lead
Mhm.
teams.
Mhm.
If his employees are not performing, he's very straightforward. He's able to call them and fire them. He has zero remorse. He's not unfazed when he has a bad month. Obviously, making 15, $20 million a year is very, very impressive, especially being 28.
Yeah.
But the things that would make someone want to quit business or say, you know what, this sucks, this is not for me, he doesn't get affected by those things, you know? And I remember early on in my journey, I would have a bad month of business and that would just get me down in the dumps. Like, I'm
Yeah.
a failure, I suck. I did so good the month of June, but July I went down. I'm going to go back. You know, it's like, I remember these crazy stories that I would tell myself. And this young man, his amazing gift that he's totally unfazed. Even for him to make $20 million a year, it's not like he's like celebrating it or he feels superior. He feels he's destined to be making $100 million. So all right, I got a lot more to focus on. And I got to go back to work. You know, most people are like, I'm good, 20 million, I'm straight. You know, I just
Yeah.
want to cruise. He always wants to get better, but he's got this approach where he's completely detached of the outcome. Whether he's making zero or he's making $2 million a month,
Yeah.
it doesn't affect him. He just
Yeah.
goes in and executes at a very high rate regardless.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, because he is very invested in the process and not the outcome, right? And it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, and it's like what we have to, and especially like new entrepreneurs, what we need to be thinking about is the fact that like success is not like linear, right? Like sometimes
Yes.
you are kind
Yes.
of going backwards and learning, but that's because we're in it, right? Like we've got our blinders on. But if you were to like zoom out 5, 10 years, you're
Yes,
gonna see,
exactly.
oh no, actually it was a progression. You know,
It
it's
was a
just
bad month, right? It's like
it was
not a
just
bad
a bad
decade,
one.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's long-term thinking compared to
Yeah,
short-term. And that's another great point when I was
yeah,
coaching so many people, the people that would quit or they would just give up on entrepreneurship, their main conversation, or sometimes they would say it out loud, was for all this work that I'm doing, I
Mhm.
should be a lot more successful. I should be a lot more wealthy. I should be a lot further along. And that was kind of like this verbal conversation.
Yeah.
I posted a video every single day for the past month, and I've not made a single penny. I'm
Mhm.
not going to do this anymore. Screw this. Is it's all. It's like, listen, you just started your business
Yeah.
in 30 days. If you're posting every day, you're not looking at the long term. Imagine you did a video a day for 5 years. You'll be unstoppable, right?
That's right.
You'll be
Right.
undeniable. Just the,
Yeah.
looking at it from, okay, I did all these videos. Where's my money? It's like, no, I'm gaining mastery. I've done, I would say, 1,500 videos from my first video back in 2007. Now,
Wow.
what that's given me is an incredible skill set of
Yeah.
doing one shot, getting on camera, filming. I have an
Yeah.
idea. I'm able to sell. I sell on webinars. I sell on stages because I've done it so much. I put in the work.
Yeah.
Now, if I go back and look at the first few years of all those YouTube videos, I got 3 views and I would post on social media and I got pretty much no engagement. No,
Yeah.
that was just building my skill set, right? I
Yeah.
had to get to at least 200 videos before
Yeah.
they started making money for me. So I
Yeah.
looked at it very long term. If I would have quit at the first 30 videos, I would not be where I am today. And unfortunately, most people quit early on because they have this crazy expectation that the amount of work that they're putting in should lead to a specific amount of money. When you're right, they're not looking at it like the long term. As the expectation causes their suffering.
Yes, you're right. It's the expectation of where they think they should be to where they actually are that's creating that suffering for them. And if we're just able to delay our gratification, like delay it, zoom out and don't have those expectation. Like, yes, have targets and benchmarks for yourself and keep measuring right against them, because of course, like what we can't measure, we can't manage. So yes, do that. But I think if you can just detach yourself from that outcome and just focus on your process, focus on that next video. And in that next video, I'm going to learn from the last video and improve it. It's the incremental improvements that we make. That's what truly compounds and amplifies in our life. What do you think could be like
I was
how,
gonna, a quote that just came to mind was,
yes,
consistency will always take you to the next level, right?
yes,
It's that
yes,
consistency, showing up regardless, day in, day out, showing up, even when your bank account doesn't reflect your hard work,
yes,
because you genuinely want to help people. You want to help, serve, transform lives. You're
yeah,
going to do it regardless, right? I mean, we're doing this podcast. You're not paying me any money that I'm aware of, right? I'm spending time. It's 10 p.m.
I
here
know.
in Thailand. I love doing this. I love talking
Thank
about this.
you.
But I don't have an expectation. If
Yeah,
one person watches it and they're like, wow, cool conversation, I'm going to better my life, then that's all that matters. I'm not trying to
yeah,
monetize every time I show up, right? I'm not trying to sell something every time I go on camera. I
yeah,
love this stuff, right? And that's
yeah,
why I've been doing this for close to 20 years, right? Whereas some people, they'll do 5 podcasts, have this crazy expectation of being as big as Joe Rogan or Tim Ferriss.
yeah,
They're not, they
yeah,
quit. They
yeah.
go work for someone else and be like, oh, business sucks, or entrepreneurship, it's not worth it. It's all this work, you create the story in their mind. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Keep that story.
Yeah, it's true. And I think the more we can really just trade in those expectations for just, sincere appreciation, the more
Yes,
we can
yes,
we can ground ourselves in just appreciating where we're at in our journey and what we've done and how much we've done up until this point, the more we can and appreciating ourselves, right? Like sometimes
yes,
I think like because we have such huge goals and ambitions, we forget to have that self-compassion, with ourselves. Like at the end of the day, we are doing so much. We're multi-managing. We have maybe teams and businesses and family and commitments. There's so much, the last thing you want to do is be down on yourself. What you need from you is for you to love you,
yes,
no
yes,
matter what's happening in that month, if it's an up month or a down month, you should be loving you consistently and not tying yourself or your self-worth or your happiness to those outcomes. Again, we have to tie ourselves to what we can control.
exactly. It's really grounding yourself to what's
Yeah,
important in life.
yeah,
Every morning I have a top 10 gratitude list, and I
Oh,
will have a recording device, or sometimes I'll just whip out my phone. I do a lot of videos just for myself. So I like to do morning cardio. I live right by the beach. I'll go for a walk, and then, oh, time for my top 10 gratitude list. So I'll hit audio to record or video, and I'll just literally talk to my camera. I won't publish it anywhere. It's for my own good.
okay.
Here are the top 10 things I'm grateful for. Number one, I'm grateful to be healthy. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be living in Thailand. I'm grateful to be in a place of financial abundance, that my parents are alive and everyone in my family is doing well. It's like
Yeah.
all these things change my state so quickly, right?
Mm.
Because I appreciate so much that I have, and I look at the world in a very abundant way. And I think no matter what, you could always ground yourself to the fact that you're alive. Like death is one of the craziest concepts that I feel most people don't think about enough. I think about death every single day, every single moment, especially when someone close to me passes away. You know, my next door neighbor tragically passed away 1 week ago. He was the biggest fitness influencer in the world. He has 9.5 million followers on Instagram. He came back from a trip, was laying in his girlfriend's arm. At the age of 30, tragically had a brain aneurysm, right? His name's Joe Linder, also known as Joe Aesthetics. He died. Multi-millionaire, beloved by millions. Again, the biggest fitness influencer on the planet. Lives right next door to me. I would see him every single day. It was one of the biggest tragedies. I mean, I'm still in shock that he's dead, right? We just
Yeah.
had his memorial the other day at the gym. And whenever someone close to me dies, I'm like, whoa, like life is this incredible gift that we have. We never know where we're going to go.
Yeah.
No way did Joe think that he was going to die July 1st at the age of 30 and cease to exist. So
Yeah.
much goals, never had kids, never, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a million things that he wanted to do, but he
Yeah.
lived in a place of appreciation, appreciated every moment, every breath, every day, just the self-awareness of like, this is it. This moment I have life, and I should be so grateful for this. If anything, I'm
Mhm.
not thinking about,
Mhm.
oh, where is my money? How come I didn't make this much? How come I didn't accomplish this? He accomplished just about everything you could accomplish. He lived a very, very rich life by the
Yeah.
age of 30. But I'm always
Yeah.
reminded that death is a great equalizer. And if you're not
Yeah.
grateful for life in this moment, you should
Yeah.
not be desiring all these other things, because your life, your health, having a sound mind is such an important thing that sometimes we fail to grasp because we're so focused on these other
Mhm.
external elements.
Mhm. Yeah, it's true. Tomorrow's never promised, so you really have to
Yes.
make your today count. And like they say, like you live once, and yeah, you don't live once. You live every day. You die once, but you're living every single day.
True.
But and so yeah, no, it's true. And where I want to really go next with you, AJ, is your decision to move to Thailand.
Yes.
And where, what got you to the point where you felt like you needed to really pick up and leave everything you've ever known and immerse yourself in a completely different culture, a different country, a new life? What instigated that within you?
Again, it comes down to curiosity. I
Yeah.
always question everything. Thankfully, my parents been at the right time, at the right place. I was able to be born a
Yeah.
healthy young man. We left this war-torn refugee situation, came to America, got the best education, got a master's degree, got entrepreneurship, also freedom to start a business and not have the government, manipulating stuff. And it's like all these great things happen. But also I thought like, okay, I came to America by accident. Now,
Yeah.
am I meant to stay in America forever, or is there more to this world that I need to see?
Yeah.
And I've always been fascinated with traveling abroad. And I thought about all the places I want to go. However, I traveled to a lot of different countries.
Okay.
Thankfully, having an online business, I was able to work from different locations. So I traveled to South America, Europe, the Middle East. I even came to Bali, not too far from here, but I never came to Thailand. Now, intuitively, I always wanted to go to Thailand. I've always been fascinated by the country, the culture.
The food.
Buddhism is very fascinating to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was born Muslim. Honestly, I'm not very strict with religion, but I like to study other religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity,
Yeah.
Buddhism,
Yeah.
Hinduism, and it's fascinating, these ancient religions. Everything has something to teach you. Now, what's
Yes.
been interesting about Buddhism, it's like, it's not really a religion per se, it's more of a psychology.
Mhm.
So a lot of the books I read about mindfulness and meditation, even the Buddha, his teachings, he was like, I'm not your savior, right? I'm not the supernatural figure. I've discovered this way of viewing the world where I achieve peace. Now, if you want to achieve peace, live a life without desire, without attachment. And I'm like, wow, what a concept. He's not saying that you need to worship me, and in order to love me, you go to heaven. If you don't love me, you go to hell. There's no rules like that. So I was really interested with that philosophy. So I studied a lot of Buddhism, and I was really interested in coming to Thailand for a very long time. Now, last year I had a set of events that kind of opened up the possibility of coming here.
Okay.
Now, I sold my business January of 2022. In the process of selling my business, I decided to just minimize my life as much as possible. I had this 10-bedroom mega mansion with a movie theater, a swimming pool, basketball courts, gym. It was huge.
Yeah.
I ended up selling that. I had a Bentley convertible, Mercedes, all of my material items. I just needed to sell everything because with my business, a lot of it was proving to people I'm a successful entrepreneur. I'm a business coach. I make all this money. Here's all the money. Here's all the proof. Let me
Mhm.
make you money as well. When
Mhm.
I sold the business, I was like, I don't need to really prove anything. I want to sell everything, just minimize my life. And at the same time, I was in the process of minimizing. I unfortunately had a very bad relationship that got very, very toxic. It was not serving me. It was not serving her. It just
Yeah.
put me in this position where we had a really bad breakup. It became very violent and volatile and just wanted peace.
Yeah.
So I just felt this odd need that I just need to get out of America. I don't have any attachments here. Thankfully, I sold my business. I didn't have to be there. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a relationship. Pretty much the Buddha's unattached. I had zero attachments. So July of 2022, I said, I've always wanted to go to Thailand, and now is the best time to go. I'm going to go by myself to this weird Southeast Asian country and
Oh,
just go for 1 month, 30 days. I swear, Mary, like I came here. The first 3 days, I was like, whoa, the energy here is very unique. I've been to so
yeah.
many countries, but nothing felt like home. When I got off the plane and immersed myself in the ground of Thailand, the energy, the people's on as a land of smiles. Everyone is so happy. There's extreme poverty, but everyone smiles at you. People are so nice. It is so safe. It's one of the safest countries in the world. I came
Yeah.
from Manhattan, New York. This is like the
Yeah.
worst crime ever. Here, they don't rob, they don't steal, they don't kill. So it was this new world, but energetically, it felt like home. And I remember
Okay.
calling my parents within that first week, and I just said, I think I'm going to move here. I really feel like I just need to be here longer. I know I'm going to be here for a month, but August, I'm going to come back, sell everything else I have, whatever I can sell. You guys can have it, put it on eBay, put it on Craigslist. It's all yours. I just don't need anything. I'm going to come here with one suitcase and just figure out things as I go along. I just got a one-way ticket, September 2022. And I've been here since, and I'm just the happiest I've ever been. It's the least I've had. Even in New York, I had libraries full of books and all these items. It was the hardest thing to go to this new country in Asia and figure out what do I want to take with me. I
Yeah.
have these journals. I've been journaling for the past 17 years. I've not missed a day. That was in my suitcase. you
Wow.
know, basic clothes and very minimal items, because you can't bring that much when you're traveling abroad. And then I just got a hard reset. It was the hardest reset ever, coming here alone, no family, no friends, really having everything stripped away. And then the language barrier, having to learn this language, this culture. And it's
Mm.
the greatest feeling, because it's like I get to start kindergarten with the wisdom of having a master's degree in America. So it's been like this new video game that I'm playing, and everything's been awesome. But I think most importantly, one of the greatest things to really judge and experience a place or a person is how it makes you feel.
Yes.
Honestly, Mary, this is
Yes.
the happiest I've ever been. I
Yeah.
just feel this clarity, peace of mind, just so many possibilities. I just felt like
Yeah.
America, New York, where I was, it was just not serving me.
Yeah.
Here, I get to start hard reset, ground zero, but I'm just so excited. I'm like a little kid learning the language, trying new foods, going to new places, So
Yeah.
it's been very beneficial in a lot of ways. And I urge people, I went to all these different countries, nothing felt like home. And I kind of feel like everyone probably has this one place somewhere in the world, probably outside of the world. Maybe it's Mars, but maybe you go there and it feels better than home. It's actually at some point it was your home, maybe historically your
Yeah.
DNA just connects there. But Thailand was definitely the place for me.
Oh, wow. It's true. It's true. Sometimes we can't explain it, but something just resonates. It could be even be a person, it could be a place,
Yes,
but
you're right.
we just feel it in a place that we just
Person,
can't explain,
place,
but it just,
environment.
yeah, yeah. And it just really resonates deep down and we can't understand it, but there's just this
Yeah.
sense of familiarness to it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Because I never had this experience, right? You travel places and you're like, all right, well, that was a great vacation. I can't wait to go back home. I came here. I'm like,
yes.
wow, this is my new home. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back,
I, I can't wait to come back and live
And
here. Oh, that's
funny enough,
beautiful.
Thailand has a special way of drawing people in here because I'd say that a majority of people had a similar situation as me, except they came on vacation, they never left. A good
Ah,
friend of mine, Connor Murphy, he's a famous YouTube influencer. He's got, 3, 4 million subscribers on YouTube, had a great life in America and just needed a break, needed a change. I invited him to come to Thailand in January. He got a round trip for 2 weeks. Like, is 2 weeks enough? Yeah, I think 2 weeks will be good. I think you'll get a good understanding if you like it here or not. He ended up coming similar within 1 week. He ended up canceling his trip and he never left. He just had like one little tiny book bag. He thought it was gonna be a short 2 week trip, and now he's been here going on 7 months.
oh my goodness. Oh,
So there's
wow.
a common theme for this. The energy in Thailand is very unique, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that end up coming for vacation and never leaving.
Oh, I believe it. It's funny. I was out with my friends last night at a Thai restaurant because I
Oh wow,
absolutely
no
love
way.
Thai food. You can't
Yes.
top Thai food. Maybe Lebanese food, but Thai food is right up there for me.
Wait till you have it in Thailand, and it's a whole different experience.
Oh yeah, I can't, I think they had me at pad thai.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
Thai food's amazing. And here too, they take so much pride in the culinary process. I've honestly not had a bad meal, because one
I
benefit is
believe it.
have this incredible, rich, delicious food.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like nothing, like literally you'll have an entire meal, it'll be, let's say, 40, 50 baht. Now that is $1.25 USD for an entire meal, right? It's like
Oh,
something that
crazy.
probably charge 12, $15 at a Thai restaurant in America or Canada. But yeah,
Yeah.
the cost of living here, right now I'm currently living in this crazy penthouse right by the beach, 2 balconies, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, massive place. And it
Yeah.
cost me $800 US a month
Oh my
to live
God.
here. I mean, there's a lot of
Ah,
benefits, right? Your money goes extremely far in Thailand. So that's another nice perk of being here.
oh yeah. Everybody is king.
Yes, yes. That's why it attracts a lot of online coaches, online business owners, life
Yeah.
coaches, because most people making $1,000 USD a month, they live
Yeah.
a very extravagant life.
Yeah. You're
Here, 1,000 US, 1,000 Canadian, unfortunately won't get you very far back at home.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. Wow. AJ, you're giving me some ideas.
I recommend, hey, think about it, plan a trip, plan a vacation, because that's another thing. The most expensive thing will be the actual plane ticket. But coming to Thailand, you can get a crazy Airbnb condo in a very prime location for $20 US a day, right? If you want to
What?
splurge $30 a day, then you have, the cost of meals, $1, $2 maximum for delicious cooked meals, gourmet. You know, get a haircut in Manhattan, it costs me $50 to get a haircut.
Yep.
Here it's $2.80, right? So it's like you go from spending a significant amount, and then here it's like 10% of what you spend at home is going to be
Yeah.
your living expenses.
Yeah.
So
Your money
that's
goes a long way.
one of the big perks, of course, and it's very, very safe. Like there's no
Yeah.
crime. People here believe very strongly in karma. So if you leave your wallet somewhere, in fact, I was on a walk a few months ago, my phone fell out of my pocket. Now, if this happened in Manhattan for 5 minutes, the phone falls out. I'll never ever see it again. Here
Yeah,
I realized
exactly.
2 hours after,
Yeah.
oh, where's my phone? Oh, it's not in my condo. So
Yeah.
ended
Yeah.
up
You're right.
calling it, and a nice Thai family said, oh yeah, we were walking, we found your phone, we live at this condo, you come pick it up. And I was like, whoa, like this phone would be 6 months of their salary. They could go sell it on the black market, have all this money, but because they believe in karma, they made sure to return it back to me and hand it to me like very nice, like how people should, right? It's the golden
Exactly.
rule, treat others how you want
Absolutely.
to be treated. But they believe in karma so much that it kind of self-regulates the society in a positive way.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, it's so true. It's funny. I was on a cruise in May and I left my purse on the table at the buffet restaurant, and my son was sitting there, and the waiter was like cleaning off the table for us. And I just went like 20 feet away just to grab myself a cup of coffee. And this woman came up to the table, took my purse, and walked away with my
Oh my
son
God.
being there and the waiter cleaning off the table. And I'm like, and I'm seeing all of this because I'm standing
Wow,
in
I was
to
gonna
get
say, like,
coffee
you're on a cruise, so it's like a
on
closed
a
location.
cruise ship with
Yeah.
cameras everywhere. And I was like waiting in line for coffee, but I had my back turned to the coffee station because I want to make sure my son stays okay. And then I see this all happening, and I'm like, I've never had that happen before. And
Well,
it's
I'm curious,
violating.
did you suffer consequences? Like this is, stealing. Like, I mean, on land they would arrest you, but what did they do in a cruise? Did they throw you in the basement or
Nothing.
something? Like,
Nothing. I actually had to
wow.
run after her and like take my purse
Man,
back.
shame, because wow, so she stole something, committed a crime, knowingly did something
Yeah.
extremely out of integrity, but she
Yeah.
suffers no consequences.
No consequences. And it's funny because my sister went up to her later. Like I told her, okay, it's this lady here, but like, I just told her like, this is my purse. I'm sorry. And she took it right in front of, like, my son was sitting here and she took it right out in front of him, and she just like, pretended not to speak English. And I'm like, okay, we're here on vacation. Let it go. I got my purse back. But it's like, wow, it's nice to live in a country where you don't have to be thinking about, keeping
Yeah.
your personal belongings close to
Yeah.
you. And
I'm sorry to
yeah,
hear that. That's really, kind of lose faith for humanity when stuff like that happens. And it's like, I hate hurting other people. If I owe someone money, I pay them immediately. I
yeah,
never bad terms with people, and to like
ever.
be in that state where you really steal from, like, one of the most disrespectful things is to violate them and steal from them, and then be on the same cruise and face them and not feel awkward. Like, the least you could have done is like
Yeah.
apologize to you, like,
No.
hey, Miss
Yeah.
Mary, I am very sorry, I'm very
Yeah.
poor and I don't have any
Yep.
money and I just made a bad decision, I apologize,
Yeah.
and
Own
beg
it.
for forgiveness at least,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shame. I'm sorry to hear that. It's a
But
terrible
you know what?
experience.
It is hard to experience, but at the same time, it's like, let's go back to what we talked about before, like detachment. And one thing that I try to do is, you know, just have deep, deep empathy for that person. Like, what is
Yeah.
happening in their life that made them feel like they had to do something like this, even though they knew it was wrong? Like, what's happening there?
I'm sure
What's
that
happening
there's a lot
there?
of other issues in their life that,
Yeah.
they're probably, because if you have that like dark heart to like knowingly hurt someone else and steal from them, rob from them, it's like I can't imagine how much other turbulence is going on in your
In
inside
that
world,
life.
in your personal life, that
Yeah.
yikes, I would hate to be that
Yeah.
person. So yeah, it's grateful to like not be in that type
Exactly.
of mindset to like
Hey,
steal from someone in order to
yeah.
become, more
Yeah.
financially better. So
Exactly. Feel blessed that you are not in a position where you need to go and do that, you know?
yes, because either they are in a bad position or they have a mental disorder, right? There's a
Yeah.
kleptomaniac, that people that are just obsessed with stealing from others, even though they could have good finances, they just feel really good taking someone else's stuff, which is a
Right.
weird disorder,
Right.
but you know, it's a crazy world we live in.
And the sad part is that it'll never be enough, right? Like you meet some people who are so grateful for what they have, and then there's other people who are always looking for more. You know, there's this void, you try to fill it with things, external things, you know, like houses and cars and whatever, boats, whatever. And it's like, oh, but guess what? At the end of the day, you still got to work on you.
It's so true. You know, my mentor, Joe Polish, he had a great quote. He goes, life gives to the givers and takes from
Oh,
the takers, you know, and
yes. Ultimately, that is what
conversation.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because
I, I didn't know he was your mentor.
yeah, he was my mentor back in 2013, you know, when I was first tasting success. One of the best investments I ever made was joining his Genius Network, the
Yeah.
25K group. And I was just a newbie at the time, but I just felt intuitively that I had to give this guy a $25,000 check to join his mastermind. And
Yeah.
that was like the lowest on the totem pole, which is great because every room I walked into, I was the dumbest person in the room. There were people far smarter than me, far more successful. And I'm
Yeah.
just in awe because, you know, that
Yeah.
mastermind, you are in rooms with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Russell Brunson,
Wow.
uh, so many super crazy high level entrepreneurs that like I would never imagine sitting next to them. But then
Yeah.
when you're in a mastermind, you're all paying to be there. So you have
Yes.
this level of access that you would never get. So
True.
he says in his mastermind that the investment is 25,000. If you do not make at least 250,000 and 10x your investment in 1 year, he'll give you your money back. And it's true. Like every single person, they end up rejoining the following year because the access, the connections, even until this day, there are conversations and insights and breakthroughs that I had from that original investment that still pay its dividends now, you know? So
Yeah.
it's one of the
Yeah.
greatest things I ever did was joining that group
Oh,
about
yeah.
10 years ago.
There's so much power to proximity and getting in the right
Oh, yeah.
circles with the right people who resonate with who you think you are or who you are trying to become. I think there's so much power in that.
I remember I was obsessed with Marie Forleo at the time, you know.
Oh, yeah. She's a New
Crazy
Yorker too, isn't she?
New Yorker too. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
would like watch her videos. And she's so charismatic and she's so smart, and she would have like the best interviews and her
Yeah.
content. I remember like my first meeting. He has like an annual event where it's like the big event. I think it was in New York, and I remember like she was sitting on my table, and I'm like, oh my god, the Marie Forleo is like right next to me, you know. And she was
Yeah.
the nicest woman. She was so sweet. I think she kind of picked up that I was like new in the group and was nice, and I was like, wow, she's so much nicer than I imagined, you know, because sometimes you see these people like a Tony Robbins, a Marie Forleo, and you're like, these people are superhuman. But then when you sit down with them and it's like lunch and they're ordering a beer and they're having a drink and you're sitting down, you're like, wow, they're no different than me.
Yeah.
I like idolized them like they were superhuman, but they're the same
Yeah.
thing I am. And that was, I think, one of the greatest things I learned was the power of perspective, you know, because you have some people that you idolize and then you meet them, you realize they're just like you. And then I said to myself, why not me? You know, and
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
a great mantra that kind of got me to accelerate my success a lot faster from that mastermind.
Oh, that's true. Because how many of us believe that it's possible, but we don't always believe that it's possible for us?
Yes, exactly. Because of
Yeah.
course, like on social media, you see the absolute best, right? Especially with these influencers and these gurus. You
Yeah.
know, you don't realize that they have like the best editors, the best teams. Some of them even have
That's
people
right.
creating content for them, right?
Yeah.
They're like ghostwriters and stuff. And you
Yeah.
think that they're so smart.
Yeah.
They're so strategic, you know, even though they're going to interview. Like here, I'm just kind of going on and just sharing from the heart. It's a very great conversation. I'm losing track of time, but they will go into interview, have 3 to 4 canned stories, a bunch of jokes that have tested really well. You could ask them a question and they'll somehow take the question to that one story that they planned, tell that crazy story. And they're so meticulous with this stuff. You know, obviously it works, you know, there's time and a place for being spontaneous. And in the moment, there's a time and a place for having a plan for everything, you know, but
Mhm.
so it's interesting to see you pull back the hood and you really see how they operate.
Absolutely. And it takes us back to the beginning of our conversation. Those people have a formula.
Yes,
It's a
yes,
proven
absolutely.
formula. Yeah.
And it's such a formula, and it's a lot of strategy. They put a lot of
Mhm,
time and effort into the littlest thing, whether
mhm.
it's like a 10-minute talk in front of other people or a podcast interview. They're so strategic, and it's a formula, right? And it's
It
like
is. It is.
really having this game plan and
Yeah.
approaching it with a proven process that works all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah, very true. But the most successful people do have the formula, but they know when to use it. Because sometimes you don't want to be leading with your formula. Sometimes you want to
Yeah,
sit down and have a heart to heart, speak from a place of vulnerability, because you're going to have to create some sort of a connection with someone, right? I have to know, like, and trust you if I want to follow you, listen to you, buy from you. So at some point,
absolutely.
I think that formula works in certain business settings, but when it
Yes,
comes to connection, we should
yes.
be leading with our vulnerability, because that's
It's
what's
so
going
true.
to,
So true.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, they're selling something, right? So they would go every podcast that they accomplish a certain amount of sales or email opt-ins. And so they're very
Mhm,
focused on that end result of sending you a
mhm.
specific website from the specific podcast. So yeah, it's all like that. But one of my biggest mentors in life is Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now. And I've
Yeah.
been fascinated by this man. Actually, like one of the first books I read was The Power of Now. And I just read all of his books, and I had the great joy of going to see him speak. He was live in New York, and I was like, I got to get a ticket, and I just paid whatever amount of money to sit down and just be in his presence, because he's the king of presence. He's all about
Yes.
this present moment, and he showed me what true authenticity is. I
Oh my,
remember when he first got on the stage, he just kind of sat there, and it was like 1,000 people in this massive theater in New York, and for 3 minutes he just looked at us and just was
yeah.
observing, and is like, "Do you expect me to say something?" We are all like laughing, because he just lived totally in the present moment. I've never seen someone so present, and
Yeah.
everything was saying was just based on whatever came up. No plan, no rhyme, no reason, but we
Uh-huh.
connected with him so much because he literally wore all of his emotions on his sleeve, and he was so transparent and so vulnerable. There was
Hmm.
zero strategy,
Hmm.
zero manipulation. And I just learned so much from that one speech, even though maybe he said 20 words the whole time, right, for the whole hour. But he just showed me, like, wow, you could really be so present in the moment that all that exists is here and now. So I
Yeah.
think he's one of the few humans that actually practices what he preaches.
Yes, yes. Yeah, there's so much congruence with, what he says in his books and how he is in his life. I think that's when we
Yeah.
really truly believe in those people, right? You're practicing what you're preaching.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, because he
vulnerable.
really taught me like how thought, right? The thought
Yeah.
is a tool, and
Yeah.
he would often say that if you are in a state of no thought, that's the best state to be in, and it makes you really think like, how could you be in a state of no thought? But you're right. Most of the time, you don't need to think. Like here, we were having a great conversation. Probably
Yeah.
in the whole day, this is the least amount that I've thought. Right? I'm just sharing, we're connecting, having a great conversation, but I'm not in my head. Right? Tony
No.
says when you're in your head, you're dead. And I think if you could operate from
Yes.
that place,
Yeah.
not
No, you're
thinking, not
you're in your
overthinking,
heart.
not analyzing all these situations or
Yeah.
all your failures and what happened when you were 13, it's like, yeah, that's really not useful. If you're in someone's presence, put your phone down, focus on them, live from your heart, and everything will work out just fine.
Exactly. I love that. Everything will work out. Oh
Always
my
does.
gosh, AJ, this was an amazing, amazing discussion. I love diving into your journey, diving into your mindset, diving into your experience. You have so much to share. You have so much to share with the world. I'm so
I
grateful
appreciate
to
you. Thank you for
you.
having me.
Oh,
Lovely and delightful conversation. And it was the best conversation I've had all day. So thank you for that.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you being here, and let's definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me.
Okay, take care.